Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So for those that just dial in, this is Meredith. She's our second coach of our upcoming masterclass. And my name is Coach Sue, and we're both from Lunging Training and hosting this live tonight to share a few more insights about what we will be teaching about in our masterclass, The Art of Lunging, upcoming starting next week. It's the winter edition, so we have in particular exercises that can help you your horse in the winter. And tonight we will be answering a few questions from participants that sent in questions ahead. Okay, so I will just start going through the questions. I already answered one question, Meredith, and I'll say we can go right after the next one. The next one is from Alice King. She sent in a very simple question just saying, how often do you lunge? Do you want to take that one, Meredith?
Oh, so it depends, right? So I know everybody has crazy schedules, and I was just speaking with someone about, I work from home and I've got about an hour for lunch and I'm not riding my horses at all. So I said, hey, why don't you take 30 minutes and go lunge your horse? So you can take even 30 minutes to go lunge your horse when you might not have time to tack up. But you have time to put on a bridle and put on the lunge line and get going. So that's one option. And it doesn't hurt the horses to lunge every day. So you kind of have to set your schedule. And if you find that you're super busy, then maybe try an every other day plan. What do you think? How often do you lunge, Sue?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's I think like really lunging with the full equipment, like including like side reins, I probably only do that maybe like twice or 3 times a week. It also depends on the training level of the horse. I actually just started a horse that came from the field. It was like a pasture ornament for 2 years. So I lunged him about 5 times a week and didn't ride at all because I wanted to first build up the back before I would even put a saddle on. And it really helped a lot. So if it's a horse that is like in full training with riding, I think like probably lunging 2 to 3 times a week is already great.
No, and I think that's a great point that you made about lunging the horse that just
Okay, let me look at the next questions that we have. Actually, Meredith will be hosting some sessions about in-hand work in our upcoming masterclass. So, Meredith, I'd love actually address a few questions that are more related to the in-hand work. So, one question that we have here is actually what is in-hand training for horses, and what if the horse has no experience with in-hand work yet? Could the person still participate in our upcoming course?
Okay, great question. So what is in-hand work? It's really on the ground. You have the horse walking next to you. Some of the work is stationary, so you're next to the horse doing some flexions or bending. You're getting him comfortable with the bit. Things like that. So very basically, it's being on the ground and having a riding session with your horse. You can teach the horse how to accept contact, how to carry himself properly. And a horse that has not done in-hand work can actually start doing this. It is nice if the horse knows how to lunge first, just so that he has basic commands. But if it's a green horse or a baby, then you can do some of this work with a baby or a green horse for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Meredith. Sweet. So let's go on to our next question. We have actually, here's a question from Joanna. And she's explaining my lunging question challenge at the minute is getting downward transitions. My horse is very reactive to upward ones, but then just continues and continues and continues at the same pace in a world of its own when I actually asked for downwards. What can I do? So that's a great question. I see this quite a lot. I had actually one situation where someone contacted me and said, "My horse lunges itself. I don't have to do anything. It just canters around me." And I was like, "That's great. Does it do anything else?" No, it just stops and turns in. I was like, "Okay." So how can we actually make lunging more of a bit of a beneficial workout? Actually making it part of training, and then transitions are very important for that and very helpful for a horse to build up condition, lengthen, stretch, and really have a nice additional workout to riding through lunging. So if your horse kind of tends to not listen yet to your cues in terms of downward transitions, then that would be something you just kind of first have to tune in and really work with the horse to understand what means to downward transitions. And that really comes down to all cues from like your voice to the contact of the lunge line to your use of the whip. Also, three very important parts that we check in on during our masterclass. We do not only talk about what does your horse need, what's the right equipment for the horse, how do you figure out your personal training plan, but we also talk about where are you as a lunger at. So we kind of do like a self-check, a self-assessment on how do you correctly use your voice, whip, comments, as well as your lunge line cues. So for downward transition, for example, the cue probably should be a small half hold on the lunge line. The whip should point towards the shoulder or towards the front of the horse, depending how it's trained. And then voice comment is probably something that is rather a lower tone and long. For example, if a horse is too fast, I like to use just the word easy for him or to kind of calm down. Or if they are in the canter and I want him to go to trot, I'll tell him trot. So it's kind of longer word versus if I want him to transition up, it's like a quick, it's like canter. So you know, or trot. So it's quick, and I might give him like a heads up for what's coming. So to teach the horse how to kind of downward transition, I like to literally just start with walking next to the horse, maybe with a fairly short lunge line, and help understand are we on the same page in when the whip goes forward or the cue that I use, it is that actually reacting in that manner. So these are a few ways you can work for them to help with downward transitions. But Meredith, please feel free to, like, out of your experience, what you do with like racing horses that don't want to come back from canter or trot into a gear lower.
Yeah. No, I like the approach of doing transitions. That's, for me, that has been the best. And maybe even if you're free lunging, which we may talk some about that, you can help the horse change direction. And that just kind of keeps his attention, and that change of direction rebalances him. So the transitions do the same thing. They rebalance the horse, so he has to pay attention a little bit.
Okay. So I'm like listening in with one ear to our life. Okay, sweet. Let me see about our next question that we have. I'm actually going to direct another in-hand work question to you, Meredith. So one other question that came in about in-hand work was, can I do the in-hand work with a halter, or do I have to use a bridle? Also, what type of whip should I use, or do I need to have?
Okay, so again, more good questions. So as far as do you need to use a bridle and a bit, normally with the in-hand work that I like to do, The answer is yes, because we want the horse to become accustomed to the bit and start learning to take on contact. However, if you have a green horse, you've not put the bit in his mouth, then it's okay to be in a halter, because some of the things are, I call it yoga for the horse, or Pilates, and we're actually stretching him, and that stretching is actually very good for them as well. And then as you progress, you can start adding the bit and the bridle. As far as a whip, I just like to use a dressage whip. So just a standard dressage whip is fine. A jumping bat is a little bit too short. The lunge whip is a little bit too long.
Okay, good. So actually, I want to make sure people are kind of aware of what the masterclass is about. So you guys have already been seeing, I'm kind of have this one slide up about the masterclass. So basically, for those that haven't heard about it, it's a 10 lesson course where we meet once a week as a group coaching with 2 coaches, and we will introduce you to different exercises in terms of lunging as well in hand work to make sure you can keep your horse fit and healthy throughout the winter. And also, you'll actually walk out with a personal lesson plan for your horse. So that I'm going to leave this QR code on the screen. So for those that are interested, kind of can like scan it and go right to it. It's starting next week. We have only a few spots left. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out or follow the link for the opportunity to sign up. And we'll be excited to see you and welcome you. And I think we have a few minutes to go, and we can like answer 1 or 2 more questions. Here's another one from Lily Mar. What can I do to encourage more expression in my horse's gaits on the lunge? So I think expression we can interpret in different ways. But Meredith, I'd actually love to give this to you in terms of expression. There's so much that it means on, and also like, is the horse on the correct lead? Is the horse has a connection to your reins? Is it stepping under? So I feel like that all kind of can apply to the in-hand work as much as it can to lunging if you use like a lunge line itself. So I'd love for you to just kind of pick up on the topic expression when you think about the in-hand work. Okay, cool. So I will wrap it up here. There's still a little bit problems to hear Meredith, but I'm glad we could answer a few questions for the people that are interested. You guys are welcome to reach out to us anytime, and I will be posting a few more links below here. Meredith, thanks again for joining. Always fun to do a session with you together.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.